Hello, FewCandy here, and welcome back to Few Orleans. And yes, my voice may sound a little bit funny today. I'm slightly under the weather, but we'll get through it, and hopefully it's not too annoying for you. Now, since the last episode, I have sped forward a few months to get through the winter and also unlock the tiles over on these hillsides. So you can see this now here. I've got all of those tiles there and also all the tiles here because we're going to be doing something here today. And I've replaced all of the trees across the hillside and in this area with our Few Orleans forest brush, which is just a little bit more green than the trees that were already on the River Delta map. So I prefer that when it comes to the autumn months and the vibe that we want to have in Few Orleans. So that's all been updated since the last episode, and there were also some great suggestions for other things we can put up on this hillside. So we're going to be coming on to that in a future episode. But for today, we're going to be concentrating on doing something with this college that we plunked in absolutely ages ago. And what I'd like to do with it is turn this into a bit of a huge university campus, to kind of combine the college with a university building and a little university town surrounding it as well. And we're going to bring in some trains, we'll introduce some trams and have a lot of fun with this, I think. But before we dive into the build, just a little reminder to drop a like on the video, comment if you're enjoying it with any of your suggestions for future episodes, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The vast majority of my viewers are not subscribed, and I'm super close to 30,000 subscribers, so if you do find yourself enjoying this content or regularly watch my content and haven't subscribed, please do whack that button because it really helps the channel to grow. So let's dive right in, and we're going to start by coming in here and unlocking our university building. And alongside that, I do actually want to unlock the Geological Research Centre. So this actually discovers larger underground deposits of oil and ore. Now, it doesn't mean that you get more oil and ore deposits appear on your map, which is what I initially thought when I first looked at this building. All it means is that the oil and ore already in existence is much more plentiful. So you get a little bit more from your oil and ore productions, which is great to have. But I also think this is a really nice building to incorporate into our university campus. So that's really my main reason for it, is the aesthetic value over really needing to help our production chains at the moment. So we're going to come in and grab our university building, and what I would like is I would like it parallel to this road here, and we've got a really nice flat piece of land in the centre here which naturally comes with the map. So because this is quite a sizable building, we're going to use that to our advantage and place that in here. So if we hover along the road here, it will snap to the side of the road because we've got this option selected. And then if we move it away, it will stay at this same angle. So that's really handy for getting things a little bit kind of nice and perpendicular or parallel as you want. So we're going to go ahead and place that in here. And what I would like for it is a really long kind of entrance road, a grand entrance right up to the front of it. Now, I know I've spammed trees everywhere. We will be removing a lot of them and designing more intricate kind of park designs to fit into the style of our university later on. So you'll just have to bear with me on that, but we will have lots more open green spaces around here too. We're going to have that road flow right up to the entrance here, which I think will be a nice viewpoint. And it also means from a little bit further back as well, the university isn't kind of directly aligned to the college, which I like we want some more interesting patterns in here. So I think that works pretty well. And then in terms of the additions, I am actually going to go ahead and add a few things already. So the library increases the students' chance of graduating. We definitely want that. We definitely want that. We need more educated citizens. So I think this is going to align really nicely to this point here, because you can see it kind of attaches to the pathway of the main building already. So I think that works quite well. Plus it's an extra building in the run up to the front of the university. So I quite enjoy that as a kind of campus extension. Now, we definitely don't need any more classrooms at the moment. I mean, we're probably at way too small a population for a university anyway, but just to show you my reason for doing this. And that is because we have got a few of these lack of high skill labour warnings pop up. And I think that is just simply the case of we don't have any highly educated people moving in. Our taxes are pretty low across all residential, so it's at 5% for all education levels. Obviously, we could lower it for the well-educated people, but I'm not going to do that because I feel like from principle that is just purely wrong. So we're going to try and play through it and manage as best as we can. Now, of course, we do need to join up these car parks as well around the side. So let's go ahead and do that. And I think what we'll do is we'll actually leave a little bit of a gap here and bring out a road that's going to run along this side like this. And then we're going to grab a smaller road and directly link that car park up into the back of here. And then what I'll probably do in these spaces around here is add in some student housing later on. So we'll probably use some European medium density perhaps to add in some very specific kind of repeated blocks, I think, to act like student accommodation around the area. But of course I also do want to bring in this geological research centre. So let's get rid of the blinding white. And we're actually going to add this in down this side on this little side road here. Again, it kind of feels like an extension to the campus. It's a nice looking building, very modern in comparison to the kind of historic style of the university. However, you do find that in all the kind of historic universities across the UK, there's obviously old buildings that have been there forever, but there's new ones popped up as new kind of research centres or expansions are needed. So I like the kind of mix of modern and old that we get by adding in this building. And just to pop back to the university as well, I think we will add in the park. It doesn't cost very much and it increases well-being as well as health, so I quite like that. And we're going to just plop this at the back over here for now. Because again, it kind of lines up onto this path quite nicely. You'd have to walk around this hedge and into it this side, which I don't mind. So I feel like that fits pretty well. And then we also need to connect up to this kind of car park entrance over this side too. So let's just bring this across here for now. We'll extend it a little bit further, just so that is nicely connected. And now I'm looking at it, I'm thinking I might change the orientation of it up just a little bit to make this road a bit more prominent coming in here. So just like that, and I feel like that's better because we get this more grander entrance actually. I was thinking it was nice with the library in front, but I've changed my mind. So we just put those on the side, and then I think we'll do a big sports grounds out the back of it. And then it kind of feels like this car park at the side as well can be specifically for the library and the Geological Research Centre as well. And then we could do some student housing around the park. I think that will feel quite nice actually. Now I do also want to add in a connection up to this highway coming from this direction, which will support the town that we're going to put over here. So let's just go ahead and add that in before we get too much further. So we're going to want contour lines on for this because it's pretty tricky actually to navigate our way around here. So I'm just going to pull this back just a little touch and we'll smooth that off afterwards, just a tiny bit, just enough to kind of get ourselves around this corner here. So we're going to go for freeform for this. We're just going to do a 2-lane road. Oh, actually, I do kind of want the median, so let's go for a wider road here. And we're just going to bring this up, make sure contours are on again, and kind of follow some of these contour lines around. So we'll come up for there for now, and then we will actually hook this into the highway. I think we'll come underneath and kind of hook it in one side and then another side, just so traffic doesn't have to cross. And use some of those management tools that we do have in order to control that. But for the moment, we'll leave it there and we might tidy this up a little bit later on. And then the next thing I do want to look at is actually adding in a train station here. Now, just looking at the terrain, we actually go up a little bit before we get to the river this side. So I am unfortunately going to disrespect the terrain and we're going to just actually get rid of this little bit of a hump because it doesn't go as far down as the river, like it's not kind of sloping up to the river. It's sort of just a little bit of an annoyance when we're trying to put in a train station, which needs to be inherently on flat land. So we'll just smooth that back off for now, and then let's go ahead and actually get in our train station. So we want this one, let's get rid of the blinding white, and we're going to line it up to this road here and pull it back kind of somewhere behind the university a little bit. So I'm thinking possibly about here. And then we have got the train track that is flowing out from Arcadia's station right here and coming up round here. So we just want to connect this up now. I like that will do, and then let's not forget to extend our line. Now I'm going to forget which line it is that actually goes between them. So yeah, blue is our internal train line, so that is the one that we're going to want to move here. So let's actually just drag this all the way up into our new station over here. We'll add that to the centre platform there, and then we'll come back here and we'll add back in our stops. So let's also now just connect up our stations. We're going to add in a road that runs along the front of it like this, and then connect this into our collector here. So I want to come out of this nice and square, and I think we'll come out slightly off center, like about here, and then just keep that going down to the main road for a nice simple connection there. And then what we can do is build out a bit of a town centre around here. But before we do that, I do just want to make sure we've got in our road networks around our university. So we've got space for sports fields out the back as well. And making sure we've got nice connectivity all around it for our different housing areas that we're going to be putting in and that sort of thing. There we go, we've got a nice simple road frame in. We've just connected it up over here with a bit of a simple intersection, but hopefully the traffic shouldn't cross each other on our highway road here, which should help keep it flowing a little bit better. So it's kind of, if you're coming from this direction, you're going out this way, and from this side of the road, it's this exit, but you will get round to the same place. So hopefully that will work nicely. We've of course added in a load of sports fields here too. I'm keeping little green open spaces around it, and we'll remove the trees when we come to the detailing time lapse, just to add a little bit more interest and kind of open sports fields as well. Maybe do some more path designs like we did over in Lafayette to create some more kind of bespoke sports field designs, but we shall see later on. For now, I think that adds like a nice kind of extension to our university. So the next thing I want to look at is university housing for the students, which I feel like is quite important. And over in this little corner, I'd definitely like to add some in here. So let's go ahead and grab our little 1-unit road here. And what we're going to do is we're going to try and create some nice little designs with European high density in here. And we're going to try and create some nice designs with European, so let's make sure we're on that, medium density housing in here. So I think what we'll go for is actually 4x4 blocks in here, which I think will look quite nice. Like, we need to direct some of this zoning away from where it currently is. So let's go ahead and add in a couple of little pathways. Being careful we're not officially kind of snapping into the road to get that crossing there, because that, as soon as you remove the path, if you decide to change it afterwards, will completely change your zoning, which is super annoying. So I'll add in a couple of those. Let's go for another path down the back here as well. And we're going to have to do one along here too to stop the zoning from this road. And then we can go ahead and get another nice block in here. Let's offset it slightly from this one. In fact, actually, I'm going to remove that one. We're going to move it over just a little bit to there, like that. And then we can have one more in here, which is slightly offset to it, which will give us a nicer design pattern, I think. And let's keep bringing this road around, and we'll bring it up this way. I'm thinking we will connect it into here, but let's just make a nice kind of smooth, complex curve. So we'll click right in front of that road, right in front of this road, and then join it up, which will get a nice smooth curve in there. Then we can go ahead and add in a couple more blocks. And again, we're using just exactly the same zoning size here, hoping that the same asset will come in. And that does not look like that's connected. So we're going to need to delete out this road. Let's hit pause quickly. And then we can place back in the road along the front of here, so that building doesn't demolish. And it does look like it's, yeah, it's not going to work. Right, so we'll have to faff around with the zoning a little bit more here. If you're having trouble like this, just play around with that zoning. There you go. You see we've got that in now. And you will get there eventually. So now those are zoned in, we can have a look at what to do around it. And I'm kind of thinking maybe we have like a really small little campus shop somewhere. So perhaps on this corner, just one very small unit of commercial. We could add in a very small little outdoor gym here too. And perhaps something similar over this side. And actually I'm thinking with this, let's move this. Let's turn off snapping to roadside. In fact, let's turn it on. Let's zoom right in. We'll turn it on. Then we'll turn it off so we make sure we're in the same orientation. And then if we just push it back slightly, it will extend slightly further away from the road, which again just gives a little bit more interest. So things don't always look super samey. Well, let's create another path which is going to come up through this way like that. And we'll also just connect this through to the main road here. And then we have ourselves quite a nice little kind of student housing complex on the corner here. Now there is a car park there, so I'm hoping that's enough for them. I've also just noticed this is a different colour to this tennis court. I kind of want it to be the same, so I'm actually going to delete that out. And we're going to replace it and hope that we get the same texture, which we don't. So let's go ahead and remove that one. We'll replace it. And it's still different. So I may play around with that later and see if we can get the same concrete texture on the front, just so that looks nice and consistent. But that's kind of one student housing area. I think we'll do a few more down this side as well, just so that kind of looks like an extension to the university. I think as well it would be good to bring in a few other little buildings to bring this to life too. So I'm kind of thinking a medical clinic would be pretty essential on a campus. You usually find them on a campus, at least there was one at my university. So I think we'll bring that out here, and let's just wrap that round with another small road this side. And it is a bit of a shame that we haven't unlocked more of the signature buildings, because I think some of the office ones might go quite nicely into here, like this one in particular would look quite nice on our campus. So what we'll probably do later on is once we unlock it, probably come and add it to the campus as another kind of faculty building like our Geological Research Centre. Because let's face it, a university is not one building like this and a library tagged onto it. It feels a little bit strange like that. So that's why we do want to extend it out and make it feel like a proper university and a bit more grand. And that asset in particular would be perfect for that. So before I come in and add the student housing this side, I do also want to add some extra transport around here, because I feel like it would be good to bring in some trams into Few Orleans, which we haven't done yet, and have a tram network in particular running around our university from the main station over here. So let's go into our development points, and we have got an absolute ton to spend, so we could be pretty frivolous with this if we wanted to be. So let's go in and get our trams for starters, and I'm actually just thinking to myself, in health, this health research institute could look pretty good in our university. I think the disease control centre is a little bit too big. But let's go ahead and unlock this. So if we come in here and have a little look, yeah, I think this would be a pretty nice addition to our campus for sure. And it does fit in really rather well there, which I don't think we can deny, but I'm thinking actually what I will do is turn this around. So let's have that snap to the road here. We'll turn off snapping to the road so that we know it's nice and perpendicular. And then what we're going to do, I think, is place it as close as we can this way. Now I'm hoping we can get a tram track actually around the back, so let's maybe place that in first. We'll run the tram up alongside the university this side. Then let's go back in. We'll get our health institute, and it does look like it stayed in the same position, so that's good. So let's get it as close as we can to this corner. against that tram track, I think might look quite nice in there. Again, it just adds like another faculty building ultimately to our university. Now I'm wondering what the expense is on this actually, which I didn't check, so it's very expensive, but we're absolutely fine, so I'm really not worried about that. And let's just join it up with a road along the front of it here. And I think we'll bring out a proper road because we want to get this into the tram track actually. Let's bring this out like that. Can we then connect this up here? It's maybe a little bit too tight. That's okay, we can put a footpath or something like that between there. But that'll then join onto our tram tracks this side. Let's join up this road here like that. And then yeah, we've got another faculty building onto our university, which I'm quite pleased with that actually. I think that goes in nicely. It's very red and hospital-like. Maybe it's the medical building. I mean, it is technically actually a research building, a research institute, so I think we can get away with that for sure. Now, coming back to trams, of course, let's get this in. So we've got our tram depot that we need to add. Let's turn it on snapping to roads here. I'm thinking it would be quite nice to have this up against the main highway over this side. If we rotate it around, can we kind of fit it into the side of the station? I don't know if there's enough room in here, but we might just be able to get away with this. Okay, that is better. And let's bring this up to connect in here. Obviously this is going to need to be removed, and we can come into our tram lines and connect this up into the main network like that. So what I'd like is this tram line, I think we'll have kind of a bit of a tram stop area over here, but I'd like the tram line ultimately to flow all the way around the campus. So let's go ahead and upgrade our roads. I would like to create a bit of a tram stop in here, which I think would be nice. So I want them to come in and turn around and come back again. So let's actually, to make this a little bit easier, go ahead and upgrade this road to a regular road like that, because then we can add the tram lines to it. And then we're just going to add in a couple of little stops. I'm thinking something like this. We'll of course turn that round in a second. So let's upgrade that way. And if we come down like that, that just gives us a slight bend on the tram entering the little stop. I don't know, it's maybe a bit too many junctions, but I think it will work quite nicely without the trams having to turn super duper sharp corners here. And of course, we'll just need to upgrade this road like that, and then that should work quite nicely. Now, obviously we don't have much to do detailing around here, so we'll add in some commercials and little path designs, anything that we can do to kind of jazz this up a little bit. Let's go ahead and get in our first line. Now we probably don't need to use both of these stops for the time being, but at least we've got facility for more tram lines further down the road. So we'll add in a stop there. And then we definitely want a stop by our research institute, but also by the university. So I'm actually thinking maybe at the back here would be quite good for this. Let's add one in there. We'll have one at the front of the university, so we'll go there, and then we'll also have one behind here. Up by our university housing, definitely we want one there. We'll want one by the sports fields, and then we can loop back round to complete the line. So we do now have trams running around our university, which is lovely to see. And I have actually just put in another line going in the opposite direction. So we've got one kind of clockwise and one anti-clockwise around the university here. And we'll see how the usage goes with those. I think for now, that's kind of the bare bones of our campus. And, oh, actually, just thinking about it, one thing on the college, I would also like to add in the library extension here. Because again, like the university, it provides students with a better chance of graduating. And we desperately need more highly educated citizens in our city. So let's give them a better shot at graduating by adding that in. We don't need the extra rooms, extra lesson rooms capacity on it at the moment. So that will do fine for now. And I definitely like the orientation of it off the back here because it just aligns up to that path. Too perfect to ignore that. So I think with that, we've got a lot of this area to build out, and we're going to go ahead and do that in a time lapse. So we're going to be doing some small kind of suburban residential around this side, a couple more of the university housing districts around the place, probably one over here. potentially something out this side too, and then also a very small commercial town centre around here. Plus, we also have fertile land over this side, so I'd like to add in a few little farm fields with more of our kind of suburban designs around here. So there we have our little university town, and of course, as always, we're going to need a name for this, for the university and also for this district as well, so please drop those into the comments below. Let's take a little look, and I'm going to start with my absolute favourite thing is this college and the little bit of detailing that I should have done ages ago in front of it. I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving it. We need a bit of fence really as a bit of a safety barrier around the edges, but aside from that, like this view down over Arcadia, just magnificent, to the mountains and the waters and the islands beyond. Absolutely love this. And this little park works perfectly on the end of the kind of cliff peninsula, I don't know how to call it, there outside the college. Got a lovely little symmetrical road down the middle here that the buses are using to turn around, not ideal at all. And then a lovely symmetrical path as well, so quite enjoying that. And yeah, really loving that placement. I think it helps to sit the college in a little bit more sensibly. Then got a path running down the side here to more student housing, so another little student housing area, a couple of parks dotted in there, lots of pathways running around it, little shop in the middle as well, because why not? They need to get their booze and their fast food and snacks from somewhere, right? And of course we added in a pedestrian bridge running over to this other little student housing district over here behind the medical centre. Left space for an extension on here, little shop on the corner again, which I think all works really nicely. I did zone some office in here, but we have zero demand for it, so we'll wait and see if that happens. I also really like actually how we've done the tram stops here, so I used the pathways to form pedestrian crossings, which then shortened the length of the area that was kind of dedicated to the tram stop, so it makes it feel a little bit more purposeful, I think, in this area, and it's really nice, yeah, seeing the citizens coming on and off the trams there. Now, I didn't go too overboard with bush detailing down here because around the university, this took a long time. But we have done hedgerows all the way up the centre here, so I feel like that's nice and grand. We've got big kind of what will eventually, when they're all grown up, be dense forest around here too. And then we've just got very simple open green grass around the front of the university here. So there's like a nice clear view across all of it with the trams running through. I just wish we had a little bit of fencing or something extra to put around this here, but we don't, so we're going with what we've got. But yeah, really pleased with this. We've got a pine tree border here as well because there's lots of pine trees within the university, so that'll hopefully kind of flow on nicely into it once they're all grown up. So yeah, pleased with how that's looking. Again, we've got the tram stop around the back here. Haven't done too much around this area, added in a little bit more student housing here. And then I did clear out these little patches so that we've just got open grassland. I felt like adding in some more path patterns to create our own kind of sports fields here was a little bit overkill with all of the kind of busyness that's going on around this area. So I think actually leaving them open and green is quite nice. I also added in an elementary school here as well because it was needed with the amount of housing that we have added to this area. This suburb over here will of course extend on up the hillside over here, so we'll finish this off another time. But just kind of showing the start of it and the edge of our university here. I wanted to leave this little grass green border because I felt like that was quite nice and kind of gives a kind of purposeful edge to the edge of the university campus there too. Of course, we've got the student housing district that we did in before here, and then we've just got some shops coming up to the main kind of town centre. It's small, like it's nothing spectacular, it's not particularly large, just a handful of little shops. Love that we've got a nice gas station in there, with lots of green dotted in amongst it too. Now the tram stops here, again there's not a huge amount we can do with it, so we've just done a random bushline hedge detail in the middle and some nice pathways, which of course they actually don't use. Oh no, I take that back. Hello. We do have a sim using the pathway, so that is good news there. And again, very much the same, just a few little shops down here. We have got a police station here. We did also have, yeah, a fire station over the back there too. So we've got all the services that we need around this area, and I think that police station fits in quite nicely next to this tram depot. So I'm kind of pleased with that placement there. Again, leaving little bits of green every now and then so that it feels more open and spaced out and kind of university town-like, not too crammed in ultimately. And then down the front here, we've added in more student housing and then just a little bit of a small cul-de-sac suburb area. One thing to do with these roundabouts on the end when you do this, if you use your paths and take off snap to road, you can then place them to connect to the roundabouts. Otherwise you just can't zone around it, or you can't place them directly onto it if you've got snap to road on. So that is something to bear in mind there. And this just continues on down here into our rather substantial farmyard. We definitely need to do a little bit of smoothing off over here. So let's just go ahead and do that now. There we go. That's a lot better. But yeah, quite liking how this sort of looks. Like the slope isn't too bad here, so that we've got a vegetable farm over here and the buildings aren't kind of too alarming, I don't think. This one isn't perfect, but it could be worse. Could be worse. We've then got a cotton farm here and 2 grain farms. So we've got quite a lot of farming, making good use of that fertile land. And then at the end, I actually added in a tiny bit of industry here, and I'm really pleased with the assets that have come in. They look very warehouse-like, like they're sort of almost supporting the farmyards there. And then we actually did a shop down here because I couldn't put in an office. I didn't really want to put in any more industrial next to some of these houses that we do have along the edge of the farm fields here. So I think that worked quite well. Similar over here, we've just got a couple of little houses next to our farmland. So yeah, really liking that. It's kind of a nice extension into that peninsula from our little university town here. So for today, that is going to be it. But if you have enjoyed the episode, please do remember to like, comment, share, and also subscribe to the channel and help us reach that 30,000 subscriber goal. And of course, don't forget to put your name suggestions in the comments too for our university and also for this new district. I'll be back next week with more Few Orleans, but in the meantime, please do check out one of the videos on screen. But that is all from me for now, so thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye bye!